one.
I gotta say this, was looking pretty good. I would expect to pull back, but I look at XRP, and if I was a bag holder in XRP, I would say, all this time that I've been waiting for my asset that fell, 90 whatever percent from all-time high, I might start making some of my pennies back. So things are looking, I would say, bullish for XRP, other than what's likely to be at least a 1 to 4 day correction.
Joe says bullish on XRP. That reads the headline. The question is, will XRP see $1 by the end of the year?
Remember me?
What in the hell is going on?
Just a little rubbing, Harry. Rubbing's great. I'm gonna take this rookie once and for all.
Now, firstly, just to start off, what was the main reason that you earmarked XRP as such an important currency for you guys to add?
Number one reason, top reason, our customers requested it. That's kind of how I drive and the team drives product decisions here, is really listening and having empathy with what our business customers, what our consumer customers are all asking for. And XRP, top 4 cryptocurrency. They have a very strong, very robust community behind XRP. And we heard our users and our business customers specifically loud and clear.
Just relax, Harry.
Somebody's got to give, and it's Rowdy Burns who's out. Below, an incredible recovery by Rowdy. He retains his position on the lead lap. And we have a new leader, Paul Triple, the number 46 City Chevrolet car.
Yeah, and what was interesting, Bitso, as you guys know, one of our exchange partners in Mexico, they moved $18 million of remittance through XRP in the final weeks of December, and that's been growing at 15 to 20% per week. For MoneyGram, they're now live in 5 corridors using on-demand liquidity. And now 10% of their US to Mexico, which is their largest corridor, is moving over XRP and ODL.
3 laps to go.
Caution's out, come on in. What's 4? It's almost over. You've been on the green for 68 laps. Everybody's got a pit goal.
Core banking architecture, I think there would probably be some changes needed in terms of the Federal Reserve System. But for, smaller valuation or smaller amount payments, I think you already are seeing some blockchain-based systems being created that enable the movement of money. So I think there are examples out there. We talked about XRP or others that that kind of offer this.
We bring everybody along with us as we make this technology jump.
Thank you for the question, Mr. Scott. So I think it has to be done in partnership. So PayPal's a technology company, but there are all sorts of entities that are on the ground in the communities, in the places where you're talking about. Think of retailers, maybe a 7-Eleven, a Walmart. Think of a remittance provider like a RIA, where we can partner with those entities, enable cash to be offered up at the point of sale, and then digitize it on the back end. So I think it's really in getting on the ground in the communities and the places where these people are and providing them a service, as I mentioned in my testimony, that is actually more valuable than just a cash-based service. Because until and unless we create that value proposition that really can respond to the challenges and the issues that they're facing, then there won't be a reason to move into this ecosystem.
I come into the pits, I'm in first place. I go out, I'm in third with 2 laps to go. All right, first of all, don't get excited. You're in third place, that's a pretty respectable position.
If I'm right about micropayments becoming like the thing, there's going to be a massive revolution in the way software interacts with money, and that's going to be a tremendous opportunity. That's going to be a whole new multi-billion-dollar industry.
Boy, don't have the balls to pass me on the outside.
And we're heading into treacherous turn 4.
That's part of what you see here in this rally. And you see this magenta line, Ephraim, if you can squeeze in there, that's a 12-month moving average in Bitcoin. It's around 8,500. And then you see gold kind of leading the pack. Gold, it's a 7-year high. But it got pretty rich around 1,600. It might trade in a range of 1,500 to 1,600 for quite a while, but the significance is these quasi-currencies are quite bullish, the technicals are good, and if you look at the fundamentals, we have global yields declining and debt-to-GDP ratios increasing. That's a good sign for, that's a good background, I should say, for quasi-currency.
There's a reckoning coming. Regulators are catching up, and they're seeing that rather than always rap banks on the wrists for doing poor AML KYC, and I was one of the people that did that as well, but what regulators should really be doing, spending some time on, is ensuring that the systems that the banks are using in the first place are adequate, are set correctly, and are modern and using the latest technologies to do the best they can do. And I think in a way, companies like Ripple and other fintechs are going to lead the way in that respect, and hopefully that will create upward pressure on the entire industry.
Sure. Numerous people, and this is bankers and regulators who are involved in financial crime, compliance, onboarding, anti-money laundering. This is like his industry. These are people who talk to the CFOs and CEOs of banks and put the fear of God in them in regards to money laundering and compliance and blah, blah, blah. So there's a lot of validity here. I heard at least 2 people mention that the SWIFT system will be replaced in the next couple of years, in the next 3 years, the next 5 years. These are people who aren't even in our space. They're in banking and money laundering and compliance and blah, blah, blah.
These are the presenters, too, he's mentioning.
These are speakers. Yeah, this isn't the fat lady from HR. Yeah, these are like speakers, investigators, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, was it? It was Ripple. One of them mentioned, right?
Well, Ripple. Verbatim, SWIFT is going to be replaced. Yeah.
SWIFT will be replaced by Ripple in the next 5 years.
Use case of international money movement. one of the things you need to have people use cryptocurrency to move internationally is you have to get past regulatory hurdles, educational hurdles, boards of directors, legal departments of banks. Amazingly, that has been going better than expected. Partly because a lot of banks and central banks want to learn, and they're like, what's a real legitimate thing I can do to try? And this is one of the things they can try. So they're actually pushing things through faster because it's new, not slower. On the negative side is that if you want to use cryptocurrency for liquidity, you have to have really tight spreads. You have to have a lot of thick markets in order to be able to move a lot of money, to buy and sell at low friction. All of the interest, the speculative interest, has actually made these things the trading volume has gotten quite high. So like over Christmas, XRP had $4 billion days. In one day, $4 billion transacted on an exchange over multiple days. So with that kind of liquidity, it actually brings the cost down. So I think some of those things have been maturing, and also the education of all of the regulators has gone way up.
Value built into every one of these cryptos. I mean, I think we know this, and nor do I think is there anybody alive who knows what these things are actually worth. I think what they're actually worth is what they're buying and selling for right now, and nothing else. Anything could happen. XRP it could fall to zero, but it could also be worth $1 million. I mean,
to shareholder benefit options, we added crypto asset XRP as a new shareholder benefit option. The Morningstar started beforehand, and it was very well accepted in the market. That's why we also added XRP.
Yes, as I mentioned, in 5 years, we see the company as the backbone of financial markets. Offering 30,000 stocks and ETF in one platform, and the fact that you can tokenize any stocks on demand, and you can keep these stocks, keep these tokenized assets, on your cold wallet.
Yeah. Like find the place where it's just like, okay, we need to get dollars into pesos and get those in Mexico. What's the best way for us to do that? It happens to be using crypto rails, so we're going to start using crypto rails. We're going to start experimenting with it, and then maybe it's better 10% of the time, so we're going to be using that 10% of the time, and then crypto markets are getting more liquid, spreads are getting tighter, it gets more than 10%. Next thing you know, all the remittances to Mexico are going through crypto rails because it's just a fundamentally better rail.
Yeah, it's almost like the Trojan horse type, model, right?
Cold trickle. Cold, did you have any idea you could run the car wide open to that last turn and make it stick like that?
I do it all along.
How's that?
Well, on that last stop, when I came in, Harry put on special tires.
Special tires? Harry Hogg, what's special about it? Well, nothing in particular. Looks like Harry Hogg has a little explaining to do.
You told me.
I lied. I had to tell you something to calm you down. You was acting like such a candy. After the air gun stuck, I figured you'd never get back on a racetrack. You
Right, it's time for science, huh? We've got ourselves a sponsor!
Promise me one thing, boys. Whatever else we do from here, we win Daytona.